Welcome back to my tour of Australia here. We're starting in the Western Australian town of Albany. And I'm going to depart to the northwest.
Yankee Alpha Bravo Alpha traffic Cessna November 82 Juliet Bravo taking off runway 32 departure to the west.
North or west, either one. And I'm going to find the road that heads back to Perth, if I can. Not because that's where I'm going or anything like that. We're going to follow the road briefly, though. Yeah, there it is. I'm fine. I did some exploring around the town of Albany a couple of days back, and I found some interesting stuff out this way. So I'm gonna head out here. See if I can see some of it again. I flew it at night, so I didn't get to get that good of a look at it. I can recall seeing some things up this way that I thought pretty interesting. Overcast day. Australia. The Western Australian coast. Anyway. So this is road number 30. It is designated as Route 30 or road number 30, and it heads back to Perth. If we had wanted to fly straight to Albany from Perth, we could have simply followed this road here. We're not going to stay on it. I want to see if I can spot again. I saw them in the dead of night when I flew up here, up this way a couple days ago. So, ought to be able to spot them during daylight hours, one would think. The road's easier to follow at night because it's illuminated. leave air traffic control down there. In fact, let's do that. It is 10:38 in the morning, Thursday, September the 10th, here in Western Australia. And I am just going to pull up the maps here to see what I can see about the name of this range. I think I know what it is, but I want to be sure before I make a fool out of myself. Okay, we are either within or right up here is either within or just to the south of a range called the Stirling Range in Australia, and it's yet another national park. There are loads and loads of state parks in Western Australia, but you also get the occasional national park, and the Stirling Range, the mountain range, has been designated a national park. Now I'm looking here on Apple Maps, and I have the town of Albany and the Stirling Range National Park in the same. I have it all in one view. The scale is such that I can see them both together on my phone. I am not 100% clear on what scale we're talking about here. That may be the Stirling Range off that way, in which case we'll go visit it either way. But when I made my night flight from Albany and back a couple days ago, I most definitely crossed some mountains. And I don't think it was those hills just there. I think it was these higher ones out this way. I flew for a while and then flew back to Albany. Let's see. since that 242 is coordinated universal, can I get local time? Let's see. Oh. There we go. There's the local time. 10:42 in the morning. I think I was able to dive down onto this plane here, and then I had enough. I've got enough distance between myself and those mountains further out to make the climb again, if I recall correctly. Boy, the time on this plane, the time of day on the clock on this dashboard here seems to be synced perfectly with my iPhone, which is odd if you think about it. My Apple iPhone is displaying the exact same time in PM rather than AM as the time in this plane, the local time here in Western Australia. So a bit odd there. Yeah, they're not off from each other by very much at all. Name of that stream there. Can't find it. There also appears to be a series of lakes to the north and east. To the northwest of the Stirling Range National Park. What I may do is go over here to the VFR map and see. Okay, we're flying right at them. So go ahead and do that. So we are again headed off to a destination known only to me. I've confirmed that a flight in a straight line, all else equal, with no adverse wind and conducted in a straight line, will make it to this place. but we're going to do a bit of sightseeing. We may cut it close again. Because I'm going to again be using the southern coast of Australia as a visual cue, as a visual reference. And as you might suspect, the southern coast of Australia is not, it's rugged, it curves around and comes to points. I mean, it's not a straight line. It's a very it juts around and curves around and is not a straight line. So we may have to, and if we're going to make it to this destination that I have in mind, we may have to limit our sightseeing a bit, and or put it down at an airport further west of this location that I have in mind. Okay, so we'll start climbing in anticipation of crossing this range of mountains here. Actually, you want to know the truth, under visual flight rules, we probably would not be allowed to do this in real life. I'm going to do this because I can, you know. This is an absolutely stunning experience. My jaw is still on the floor. It's been 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks since release. I have no complaints at all. Well, I have one. And it's the fact that the air traffic controllers speak with only one accent. As I've pointed out in previous videos, I think that breaks the immersion. And I don't like it, and I think it's something they need to change. I only do business with air traffic control in the United States and in Anglophone Canada, because I feel like to do business with air traffic control, or to speak with air traffic control anywhere else, breaks the immersion. It bothers me. I mean, maybe this is just an irrational hang-up that I have. Talk about it in the comments if you want. If it's something, is it something that concerns you, bothers you, or is it something that you can live with? For me, it's not something I can live with. For me, it simply doesn't make sense to have an air traffic controller to speak with an air traffic controller who has an American accent when I'm flying around Australia. We need pilots with we need a greater variety of accents with pilots, the pilot accents as well. And I also noticed that everyone is male as well. Some female voices would be nice too. I mean, to me, these are glaring omissions that someone has to be getting in their ear about. They have to be. They just have to be. I mean, I don't keep up with the message boards or much of things like that. I barely keep up with the welcome screen on the main menu of the simulation. Okay, a bit disappointed with how long some of that mountain took to render. should have happened sooner than that. I have a more than capable. This is more than capable of rendering this. I'm not sure why. But as I said, it's the morning of Thursday, September the 10th, here in Western Australia, and I've got an overcast sky here personally. I'm flying east, flying towards the sun, and I can tell that I'm flying towards the sun. That much is obvious, but it is basically an overcast sky. And I'd like to know if the simulator has got that right. Hey Siri, what's the weather like in Albany, Australia right now? Okay. Partly cloudy, 20% chance of rain. I mean, I'm looking at mostly cloudy, broken. Yeah, broken clouds. No rain. Uh, 3,600 feet of elevation here over these hills. There's a rendering problem again at 12 o'clock. Another one at 11 o'clock. There, the one at 11 o'clock just fixed itself. And there, the one at 12 o'clock just fixed itself. But, very honestly, a bit disappointed that they're happening at all. I don't feel like they should be happening at all. Getting the turbulence off the hills. But if we maintain a safe distance from them, we'll be alright. I imagine. So on the VFR map there, the light green and the sort of pale yellow and the light green indicate hills. Higher elevations, and then you've got the darker shades of green, which indicate lowlands, flatlands, lowlands. What we have in the way of airports nearby. Okay. The turbulence is moving us around a bit. It's alright. This is a stronger, faster plane than the 152. I am confident that we will be able to handle whatever is thrown at us. If it gets really bad, we'll move down toward the coast and out of the higher elevations. See if that helps. I'm a bit hesitant to perform this circle here because we are going to cut it somewhat close on fuel. I'm pretty sure. But I just want to be sure I'm not missing anything out this way. Yep. I try to keep the vertical speed indicator as close to 0 as I can when doing these sorts of maneuvers. But without the autopilot on, it's not the easiest thing. Very honestly, still haven't learned how to use the autopilot. I have a general distrust of the autopilot because what I found is that in Flight Simulator X and in previous versions of the simulator, I found it to be untrustworthy and difficult to, not difficult to use, but it just didn't work the way that I expected it to. So 11 in the morning in Western Australia, 11 at night in the Eastern US. 11 at night the previous day. I'm still Wednesday the 9th here in the Eastern US. I always fly with real world weather and real time. I think I see a small river I'd like to follow, or to try to follow anyway. Don't want to lose track of the coast. If I lose track of the coast, I could be in trouble, because, as I've said, we're probably going to cut it close on fuel again. So the river crosses a road. That could be the Southwestern Highway. Might be, it might not be, not sure. say a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. I'm waiting for the first non-Australian to ask me where Adelaide is. We are not there yet. Just sit back there and look at a magazine or something. No, no. This is perfectly perfectly nice terrain to look at. I would say this reminds me of the Great Plains in the United States. It doesn't really perfectly remind me of anything in the United States, to be honest, but it most reminds me of the Great Plains, which is in between where I live and the Rocky Mountains. It's basically right in the middle of the country, right in the middle of the United States is what this reminds me most of, I would say. We're actually going to have a lot of fun before we even begin to get to Adelaide. There are a lot of things that I want to do before even entering South Australia. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Before getting to Adelaide, there's a lot that I want to do. I've looked at a map of the country and studied it with some and studied it carefully, and there are several flights I want to make before we get to Adelaide. One in particular that I cannot wait to experience. I can't wait to see this place. I won't tell you what that is, although if you're Australian, you might be able to guess, because you know what's in between here and the South Australian border, and in between here and Adelaide. Actually, where is this place? No, this place is primarily in... Hold on, I'm going to Google it. I forget if this place is... It straddles the border between South Australia and Western Australia, but it's primarily in one or the other of the two states, and I just forget which. So I'm going to Google it. Give me just a minute. And I cannot wait to see this place. Looks to me like it is the majority of it, more than half of it is in Western Australia, and less than half of it is in South Australia. So it basically does straddle the border. You could say it straddles the border, and you would not be wrong, according to this map I'm looking at, and I cannot wait to see this place. People from Australia probably already know what it is, but I'm not going to say its name. It's going to be a secret until we get there. That's about 2 or 3 flights away from this one. That's going to be part 5 or so. But I am giddy with anticipation to see this place. Even under overcast skies, it's so pretty. And I like overcast skies. This is some of my favorite kind of weather. checking to see if the Southwestern Highway or Australia Highway 1 runs through this particular town that Okay, it does not. Okay, but I think I can VFR it using a couple of... I'm giving away where I'm going. But I can VFR this using a couple of lakes. Yeah, I'm totally giving away where I'm going. Here. Okay. Okay, I see where I am. Let's just see here. Okay. So we'll turn northeast. Break in the clouds up that way? It appears. This may seem extreme, but I'm already down a fifth a tank of fuel a pretty isolated area, so as paranoid as this might be, as paranoid as it seems, I'm going to start doing preparations. I'm preparing to deviate from my intended already. I'm just checking to see what's out there. So the list is manageable. South of Australia 1. How did I say that? What's this? Yeah, we are south of Australia 1. Australia 1 cuts north of the Fitzgerald River National Park, which is where I'm going right now. I'm flying into the national park imminently. Yeah, yep, I see right where I am on Apple Maps, and I am flying into this national park, and I will be there soon. Oop. Drop my phone onto the keyboard. Okay. there soon. And okay, yes, I see right where I am. This area appears not to be as forested as some of the terrain we flew through from Perth to Albany. So if I do link back up with Australia 1, I expect to be able to follow it, or I anticipate that I might be able to follow it at the very least. I mean, on one hand, I feel like this is a bit of terrain that's much better appreciated and better experienced from a height higher than where we are right now. But on the other hand, as a VFR pilot, I have an obligation to remain clear of clouds, and I also have a fuel range to worry about, and I scoot along a little bit faster, and I'm a bit more fuel efficient as well. Well, I certainly scoot along a little bit faster, closer to the ground. I may actually be more fuel efficient at altitude. I know that's the general rule for jets, is that they're more efficient at altitude. More fuel efficient. So we'll fly into this national park here, just to see what's what. I'd like maybe a bit of a break in the clouds. Yes, I am very much getting the same sense that you get flying over the Great Plains of the States. Which I am going to do, by the way, later on. I'm going to come back to Australia during Australian summer. I know this might not be the ideal time of year to visit. But I don't mind it. I enjoy all types of weather. I enjoy all types of terrain. I just feel lucky to be alive, and I'm just enjoying the world as much as I can. I mean, sometimes it's gonna be like this, overcast, and sometimes it's going to be sunny. But I do feel like I'm going to get a different look to the place during Australian summer. I do feel like there's going to be a different look to the place. Let's see though. I want to remain clear of the clouds. That is a low ceiling. That's a ceiling of probably 4,000 or 5,000 feet, would be my guess. Fitzgerald River. So we're at a bit of elevation here, around 2,300 feet of elevation, and we're cruising at a speed that is about what you'd expect this plane to cruise at under the circumstances. So I'm all right with this. I'd like to be even more fuel efficient than this, though, because I do, like I said, I do want to do some sightseeing, and I don't want to run out of fuel. But I love the challenge of flying in whatever weather, whatever Mother Nature throws at me. I love the challenge of just taking the weather as I find it. I love that. No matter where I am in the world, I'll take the weather as I find it. Right-hand corner of the VFR map, we're within the park. The way I know we're within the park is because the lower right-hand corner of the VFR map features yet another inlet on the southern Australian coast. This one's called the Fitzgerald Inlet in the park, named for the river that is named for Fitzgerald. But who exactly Fitzgerald was, I would be guessing. Okay, so we're beyond that inlet. Dempster Inlet next. These are all inlets off of basically the southern, it's the southern coast of Australia. It's not that I can tell. Well, it's not called anything just yet. It depends on the extent of something called the Great Australian Bight. Not sure how far that extends to. It may only extend to, looks like Cape Arid National Park to the west. If it extends further than that, then yeah, I'm not really sure of the extent of the Great Australian Bight to the west. But my destination is in between Fitzgerald River and Cape Arid. Now I've given it away. I've given it away to anyone with the ability to look on a map. Okay. Let's see here. So up here we have, let's see. Oh, that one doesn't have a name. The Google, that Apple Maps knows anyway. Okay. So good. Cruising along all right. Okay, here come some things. Actually, I think I was wrong. This is the Fitzgerald Inlet up here. This looks more like it. This one definitely looks more like it. Happen if I were to follow that river? Oh, that's the Fitzgerald River. Let's follow it. Oh, we're definitely following this. Oh, I want to. We're making better time than I thought we would make. Oh, wait. Hold on. Do I really want to follow this thing? Sure. Sure, we'll follow it. It heads out to Australia 1, or the Southwestern Highway, I guess, is what it's known as. Or the South Coast Highway, I'm sorry. Changed its name on me. But yeah, this is the Fitzgerald River right here. This is the river that the national park is named for. Right here. Let's follow it. See, I love the ability to do that. To just say, oh, I see something interesting. Let's follow it. Follow it using the VFR map, I think, not the. Well, let me be sure that this is something I want to do. I think it is. But now it's got me turned around toward the west again. I don't want to get turned around too much, or else I will run out of fuel. Fitzgerald River. There we go. the meanderings and the undulations of a river like this are impossible to follow. I mean, maybe if you were flying the Icon A5, you might be able to follow them. But in a plane of the speed of this one, it's a fool's errand to try to follow each one of the meanderings of this river. I expect to cross or to meet up with the main road, South Coast Highway. As we do this, there's the town of Fitzgerald as well along the road. Head off in the general direction that the river goes and keep an eye out for the South Coast Highway. Actually, to be honest, what I should probably do is head due north. I've got a range, like I said, I've got a range I've got to worry about. Fuel. I'm only carrying so much fuel here. I mean, I can hear people saying, why don't you take a Bonanza or a Baron on part 3 or whatever. I want to see if I can complete this entire tour of Australia using Cessnas, using the 172. I almost feel like using a twin engine would amount to cheating. And it would also sell short an absolutely glorious country that deserves better than the Baron. It deserves better than the Bonanza. I mean, I'm not saying I dislike the Baron or the Bonanza. Those are perfectly fine planes, but you give up a lot. You don't get to see the scenery in the kind of detail that you do flying in a Cessna. You sort of skim over a lot of the scenery because you're forced to fly faster. You're forced to fly higher in the Beechcraft. Baron. I want to see if I can do this in the 172. Skyhawk. I've been calling it the Sky Lane by mistake here lately. The Skyhawk, the 172 Skyhawk. cutting across the upper left corner of the VFR map, South Coast Highway. Okay. Not much of a difference between having the lights on and off on the dash. Just get to see the clock a little bit better. Closing in on noon here, local time, Western Australia, over the Fitzgerald River National Park. Clouds have been threatening to break for us, but haven't quite done it. That break in the clouds just seems to be getting further and further, or it seems to be staying out there like it's teasing us. We don't seem to be getting any closer to it. So we're down a third of a tank. At half a tank, or at half the fuel left, I am going to start looking around in earnest for alternate sites. And I'm sorry if that seems paranoid, but I had quite a hair-raising experience with fuel range in the smaller Cessna. I recently did a video of me, not just in the States, but right near where I live, just 1 or 2 states away from where I live in the States, an area you'd think I'd be familiar with. It'll never happen again. I could try. That'll never happen. If I tried to make that happen again, I couldn't make it happen again. And it was an issue with fuel. And I was able to put it down, but not at an ideal spot. Let's just put it that way. It's on the channel a couple days ago. It was earlier this month, so how much more paranoid am I in a country that I'm largely unfamiliar with, whose airports are even fewer and further between. So I guess that's what I'm saying. That experience on the Ohio River in the States really kind of put the fear of God in me. Okay, so I see Australia 1. It's there heading northeast. It's right there. I mean, we could follow it. I mean, we're running parallel to it now. Let's see if I can find the name of this river. So there's the Fitzgerald. Actually, I say that, but there's the Fitzgerald. And this one here is called the have a name. I'm not sure if that's the name of this river or not. There's the Fitzgerald, and that's yeah. I'm not confident in where I am exactly to know if that's this river or not. That's all right. Keep generally bearing northeast. The clouds are clearing off slowly, but they are. I'm interested in what it means in various countries, not just in the United States, not just in Australia, but in whatever country, what it means to have something designated as a national park. What privileges or what protections does that accord the area? What types of things are done on behalf of the region, the area, when something is declared to be a national park. Because I'm looking around out here and I can't imagine, I mean, we're there, it is empty. It's beautiful, but it's empty. And I'm just wondering how, if at all, the place is cared for, or is it cared for by being left alone? That's, I think, something else to consider. I mean, we as humans, well, now that's too deep. I won't go into that. So there's an inlet there. It's a ways away from us, but I'd still like to know its name. Okay, this is the eastern boundary of Column Inlet. Yes, okay, so this inlet down here at the lower right-hand corner of the VFR map signifies the eastern edge of the national park. And there's a river that does as well. Yeah. So we can do a couple of things at this point. We could follow Route 1. We could follow the coasts. Let's just see. Let's follow Route 1. Because Route 1 eventually heads to the coast. And we did a lot of coastal flying in the Perth to Albany cross country the other day. Let's follow Route 1 and just monitor fuel carefully. A lot of times when I fly over foreign countries and just mindlessly opine on what I see, I do it in a way that that is sociolinguistically very American, and that can be it can go misunderstood sometimes, I think. I want Australian people to know that if I didn't absolutely adore Australia, I would not be doing this. I love this country. I love what it looks like. And if I didn't enjoy flying around it in a single engine airplane, I wouldn't do it. But I don't mean any offense at all with anything of what I say. I love you guys, you know. I think you're great people, generally speaking. And I don't mean anything by it. But I'm extremely conscious of how I come off sometimes. I don't think I'm going to follow this river to the national road. I think I'm going to simply head due north. We will meet up with it one way or another. Yeah. I think this is an area called Ravensthorpe. Let me see this again. Yes, it is. Yeah. Alright. So we've still got a ways to go. But I would like to follow the road. Like I said, we did a lot of coastal flying in the Perth to Albany cross country part 1 of the Australia tour. And this South Coast Highway eventually meets up with the coast anyway. Now here's some terrain that looks a bit different to what we've seen so far. Okay, so we got a decision to make. Yeah, we do. I mean, it might not seem, looking at the numbers, it might not seem, especially if you're American, it might not seem like we do, but believe me when I say we've got a decision to make right here. I am leaning toward heading east down this road. I think we can make it. I think you give a small amount of consideration to stopping, but I think we've got this. I do. I think we've got it. you give some consideration to stopping. You don't completely dismiss it. I feel much better about this. I feel much better about our chances here than I did about our chances flying into Albany. And I feel better about both than I felt on America's Ohio River the other day. Check that on out. If you want to see me have a made-for-television freakout, unscripted in one take, check that video out. Check that on out, because that is never going to happen again. I feel a lot better about this than I did about that. I think what happened there, if I could just go off topic, tell a story about the United States for a second. I think what happened there is that I thought I was flying a smaller plane than this one. I was flying the training plane, the Cessna 152. I think the reason I thought I could make it on fuel there was because I had made the journey successfully in the past using the 172. This is a town called Ravensthorpe here. Let's go back to Australia here for a second. This is a town called Ravensthorpe, if I'm not too much mistaken. Yeah, it sure is. I know right where I am. All right. So good. Here. Let's do this. I do think we have the resources necessary to do this. I do think we'll make it on fuel. But the journey along the Ohio River that got me into such trouble the other day was a journey that I had made successfully in the 172 Skyhawk in other versions of the simulator in the past. Well, those previous versions of the simulator did not include the training plane, the 152. So I'm cruising down the Ohio River. I'm in the 152, but I'm thinking in terms of the 172. Like, oh, I know I've made this flight before on range. It's not a problem. I've done this flight a zillion times. It's no big deal. Utterly forgetting that I'm in the 152 and not the 172. There's some tennis courts down there. I simply forgot that I was in the 152. I plotted out the whole flight from the beginning. It was doomed from the beginning. I never should have flown it in the 152. But you can't really blame me because this is the first iteration of the simulator that's had the 152. I just had a brain cramp. I had a brain cramp. I set that flight up entirely wrong, and it was doomed to fail from the start. Now, it was not doomed to fail in quite the humorous manner that it did, but I was not going to make it to my destination on fuel. Now, there was a twist. There was a twist at the very end of that flight that made it even wackier than that. I had go to about an hour and 57 minutes and 9 seconds, I think, is the spot in that video. If you want to see everything, if you want to see if you want to see me just lose my mind in one take, go to 1 hour and 57 minutes and 9 seconds in the video in question. You'll see it. If you search the channel, you won't even have to put in any search terms. You'll see it. You'll see it. But no, this is... I feel a lot better in the 172 Skylane. Or Skyhawk. We are in the 172, aren't we? Yes, we are. Something's rattling in the plane. I might just be hearing things. I've done a lot of flying today. Can you blame me though? This game is absolutely beyond belief. Everyone should get it. That's one of my faults, is to just randomly leave the mouse cursor in the middle of the screen like that, and I apologize for that. I'll try not to do that going forward. I'll try to pay better attention to when that happens. I'd like to see this terrain off to the left side over here. Get a nice view of that. This here reminds me of, I think the state that this reminds me of, the American state that this reminds me of most is Arizona. Maybe New Mexico a bit as well. A lot of New Mexico is 7,000, 8,000 feet above sea level. It's a flat, high desert. Now, not flat, not entirely flat, but it's a high desert. This differs from that in terms of elevation. This differs from that noticeably, but in other ways, in most other ways, it looks similar. The appearance is similar. I think. I mean, the criticism is that there are too many trees in the game anyway. I'm not sure if the southwestern U.S. I mean, I know the southwestern U.S. has cacti in it. If you are from Australia, if you know about the flora of this part of Australia, type a comment as to whether or not this amount of flora is accurate, whether or not the species is accurate, the types of flora that you see, are they what is there? If you've driven down this road, is this what you see off to the side of the road? Is that building off to the right? Is that building actually there? But yeah, is this general appearance? Is this what you see driving down the south? I'm calling it the South Coast Highway. High noon, Western Australia time. Dead of night in Ohio, in the USA. 12 midnight. Confirm that I'm getting this name right. South Coast Highway. Yeah. Okay, so here's another town off to the right, it appears. Ravensthorpe and... okay. Can't say that I can readily locate the name of this town and fly the plane at the same time. Okay. I was unable to find its name on Apple Maps, but another bit of human civilization there, just to the east of Ravensthorpe, along this road. That November Romeo Victor down there in the lower left-hand corner of the VFR map is the airport associated with the town of Ravensthorpe, I think. Yes. NRV, that one there. Looks like the place has 2 airports associated with it. trying to plot a another side trip using using Apple Maps and fly the plane at the same time. Don't knock it till you've tried it. Oh boy, let me see. A lake I might be able to use. Okay. Yes. Alright. I think I see how we're going to do this. And I think I see my side trip too. Assuming we have the fuel necessary to accomplish it. I'll make that call. I'll make that call when we get closer. Game day decision. That's what we call that in the States. Whether or not to fly north into something called the Parkland Reserve. Here, it's gone back to reminding me of the Great Plains again. This is not so much Arizona and New Mexico as it is Kansas and Nebraska. Maybe Oklahoma. Maybe parts of Texas as well. I bet I can find the name of that river. Let me see. I bet I can. No. Not while flying the plane. I cannot. All right. What I'll do is I will rewatch this video, and I put, what do you call those things? They're hyperlinks, timestamps. I'll put timestamps in the description box of this video. I'll find the names, the proper names of some of these features that we're flying by, and I will timestamp them. and I will put those timestamps in the description box. That's already pretty much done for the Perth to Albany Part 1. It was fascinating to me to go back into that video. I'm referring to the Perth to Albany video. To go back and see the names of some of the things that I was flying over. Apple Maps made an error on something. I think it called the Wilson Inlet the Southern Ocean. But I fixed that in a timestamp. I didn't fix I still say the Southern Ocean. I call it the Southern Ocean in the video, but it's corrected on the timestamp in the description box. But it always fascinates me to go back and see the proper names of the stuff that I fly by. I can give you proper names in real time. If it's an area that I'm very familiar with, I can give you proper names in real time. A lot of my Ohio videos, the videos that I make of me flying around the United States, the part of the United States where I live, I can give you proper names in real time. But if it's an area I'm less familiar with, it's more difficult to do, obviously. Okay. Gotta be careful or else I'm gonna miss this Parkland Reserve here. May have already missed it. Out this way. Let's see what we can see. Another. Okay, wait a second. I see. Okay, I see what I'm doing. We're not there yet. Well, we are. If we fly due north, we will hit the Parkland Reserve. But there is an inlet in the Stokes National Park that I want to use as a VFR reference point. I'll zoom in on it on the VFR map. I want to use this inlet right here as a VFR reference point. Those look like big waves in this lake that is not small, but also not large. Mid-sized lake here. Find its name in real time, I'm sure. There's a bridge over another river there. Majority of the traffic heading opposite the direction that I'm heading. I have heard stories of these absolutely enormous cargo trucks in Australia, which basically amount to one of what we would call a semi-truck or an 18-wheeler hooked to another, hooked to another, hooked to another, hooked to another, driving down Australian highways. I forget what the name they used for this thing was, but if you can imagine, I guess I'm talking to my American audience here. If you can imagine one 18-wheeler hooked to another, the not the rig, but the trailer. One hooked to another, hooked to another, hooked to another, like 10 of them, a dozen of them, back to back to back. I've heard stories of that type of cargo transport routine on Australian highways, where you just link one trailer to another, to another, to another, and drive it down the road like that. If that's, I don't know where I heard that. I forget where I heard that. And I forget what they called it. But that's not something you see in the States, and it's not something that I see on this road here. What reminded me of that was that I saw a cargo truck. Again, what we would call a semi-truck or an 18-wheeler. Driving down this road, I actually see a couple of them here. There's one passing underneath us. Everyone's going the same direction. Everyone's going west. Nobody's going east. But if this is true, if you're from Australia and you know about these things, or you drive one of these things, confirm it in the comments. Am I thinking of something that's actually real, or have I lost my mind? I mean, good luck merging onto the same road with that thing trying to merge right next to you. I don't know how an engine would carry that kind of weight. You'd have to have a Airbus A380's jet engines, or a Boeing 747's jet engines, to carry that kind of weight down the road. I might be thinking of something else entirely. I don't know. But when I think of Australian highways, I think of that. That could be totally off from the truth. If that resembles anything that you've ever seen on an Australian road, if you've ever driven on an Australian highway, then type a comment about it. I could be totally off base thinking of that. It's like, I'm so focused on the road. There's these interesting lakes here. And I'm so focused on my road that I'm missing the forest I'm so focused on getting where I'm going that I'm missing some of the sights off to the side of the road. That's what I mean. That's turned into a bit of a nicer day than it started out as. I know it looked like when we were just leaving Albany, the airport in Albany, I thought it might rain. But I mean, we've got broken clouds here, but these aren't rain clouds. I don't think it's going to rain. I'd like to spin around and see this thing one more time. There it is. That is some kind of water movement for being a relatively small lake. There we go. South Coast Highway is starting to adhere a bit closer to the ocean, the South Coast, that it is named for. What this has betrayed is yet another disadvantage of trying to follow a road, which is that you get so fixated on following the road that you do miss a lot of stuff off to the sides. There's a bridge across a river there. Western Australia as a state, I found this out a little while back, is somewhere in the neighborhood of the size of the state of Alaska in the USA. It's just a big thing. I mean, it occupies somewhere in the neighborhood of about half, maybe a little less than half of the territory of Australia. Which would make it even bigger than Alaska, actually, if it were that. Yeah, something I said there didn't add up geographically. But it's a huge, the point is, it's a huge area. I don't even think we're halfway across it yet. Actually, let me have a look at the map one more time. Okay. Yeah, we'll continue on here. Yeah, we should, let's proceed down the road. Let's see where we are. Decent size stream there. I'll get some of these names, if I can, some of these streams. Now here, we're talking about a slightly, the Midwest. This reminds me of the Midwest in slightly different colors. Basically. And the Midwest is a bit flatter than this. I noticed some hills off to the side that would look a bit out of place in the American Midwest, but this flat section we're looking at now, in the foreground, yeah. Especially the right side of the road. The right side of the road is colored a bit more like what the American Midwest looks like. The left side of the road, not so much. That's a slightly different color, noticeably different color to what you see in a lot of the Midwest. But yeah, certainly the right side of the road looks quite similar to what you'd see in the rural Midwest. I can't help but observe that there are only 4 airports within any kind of distance at all to where we are. This is not an area that has a lot of airports in it. And we're basically, I mean, if we do run into an emergency, a fuel emergency, we're going where we're going, basically. We're not deviating at this point. We're going where we're going, and we're either going to get there or we're not. There's no plan B. That is the fewest number of airports I've ever seen on a list of nearby airports. The lowest number of airports I've ever seen. So if we follow the road, yes. All right. Yes, we should be... I predict if we follow the road, we will make it. As we get closer to our destination, if we have a bit of spare fuel, I might do a bit more sightseeing, but I think our focus now should be to follow the road. I can follow the road from altitude, so... some of that, climb a little bit so we can get a bit of a better view of our surroundings. Yeah, this is not as forested as far Western Australia is, or at least not in the simulator. It's not. Let me know if this is accurate in the comments. But this doesn't appear to be as forested as far Western Australia is. So, my ability to follow the road is not impeded by trees. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can do it from altitude. Get a better view of our surroundings, and maybe get better fuel economy as well. Is starting to take us south, noticeably south toward the coast, which is what I expected to have happen. So this is good. on one of these videos here coming up, I don't know if it's going to be an Australia video or not. It might be. I'm going to see if I can get a yet another panel onto the screen. This one from Outside Flight Simulator, a panel displaying the resource usage of the system here. I put some more RAM into the system, and I just would like to know if it's being used or not. I suspect with the recording happening and the high resolution ultra settings, I imagine that the additional RAM probably is being used. It has to be. What's happening right now is fairly graphically demanding, and it's demanding upon resources. So I have to believe that it has been some kind of relief to the system to have the additional RAM added. And I would just like to know, I'd like to know some data on that. I'd like to know some numbers on that. So if I can find some way to include a panel that details resource usage, I'll add that panel to, if it's not my next flight, you know, the one after that. We'll see. Because I'd like to see in real time what kind of resources are being used. Whether or not that RAM upgrade was a waste of money. I don't think it was. The feeling I have is that it was not a waste of money. Alright. I do believe that I see the two lakes that I'm going to fly between here. Oops. Apple Maps is goofing off on me here on my phone. So, let's see here. Yes. We've got a couple of lakes here. They are called Pink Lake to the west, Lake Warden to the east. They are the two lakes that I am very generally flying in the very general direction of on the VFR map. You can kind of see them. They're two of the larger sized lakes, and I'm not flying directly at them, but I'm flying, well, if I were to maintain my current heading, I would fly to their east. But let's see here. Oh, now this is interesting here. I'm going to make the educated guess that I'm going to fly toward these lakes and take this road here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be flying toward these lakes. Here, let me gain some altitude and see what I can see here. Okay, it's not letting me mess around with the VFR map to the extent that I want to. That annoys me. This is a bit of a deviation. I'm getting some cooperation finally from Apple Maps. I'm not getting any from the VFR map, but I'm getting some cooperation finally from the Apple Maps. And what we're going to wind up doing here is we're going to swing around Lake Worden we're going to do it counterclockwise, what we would call counterclockwise in the States. And Lake Worden is the one to the east, so it's the one on the right. And this is the town here. We're pretty well near the town that we... Esperance? But we're swinging around this place. Let's see what kind of resources we have. Do we have... Okay. Oh, good. We can mess around a little bit. What is that out there? Due south. Just a minute. See, that looks fun out there. It really does. It really does look fun. Okay, I may regret this, but... You only live once. This here reminds me of the Channel Islands off the coast of Los Angeles. I think these may be a little bit further off the coast than the Channel Islands are. Actually, let me make sure that this is an island at all. I'm not entirely sure that it is. The VFR map is a little bit unreliable. I can see some islands off the coast on Apple Maps, but... yeah, I'm not entirely sure that that's an island, actually. Apple Maps has some islands out this way. Not sure if those are them or if that's just part of the mainland down here. Okay, I see. Here. Okay. No. Not that way. That's not an island. But these are islands out here. So what kind of fuel have we got? Okay. I'm going to turn it around. Once we're down to about 21% fuel, I'm going to turn it around. Just incredible how the water is rendered. I am over the moon with what the water looks like in this simulation. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. greedy. This is very greedy. Fly about heading 330 to get back. I chose it. This is 100% my fault if we don't get back. I chose this. lie right at the middle of this. Here, and I found its name. Mondrain Island. Yeah, the heading indicator can sometimes go a little haywire when the wind catches you. And you'll start to move in a certain, or you'll start to head to a certain heading and it won't be recognized by the compass because of what the wind does to you. I think that's right. So Mondrain Island. This is as far out as we will go. Don't want to risk going out any further than this. Uninhabited, I believe. Uninhabited by humans. Not sure what all is here though. There could be any number of animal species here. Oh man, this would make people throw up. I'm not managing the vertical speed very well at all. I'm managing it well enough not to crash, but, you know, again, because this is not a simulator that is suspended in midair, subject to, you know, vertical, horizontal, lateral forces, I don't get the true sense of much of anything in terms of just what this would feel like to actually be in the plane doing something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a spin that I would have taken in real life. Probably not. Alright, so I said it was going to be 330. It's actually not going to be 330. It's going to be about 310, I think. All right. So as I said, we're not deviating anywhere. We're either getting back or we're not. And I see my two lakes there in the upper left-hand corner of the VFR map. I see Pink Lake and Walden Lake. So we'll fly toward them, and the field is, well, let's see here. Okay, the field is to the basically north of the lake on the right. Oh my, hang on. I'm losing it here. Losing the plot here. No, we can't do that. We gotta fly straight there. I wish we had the fuel to visit these other islands, but we do not. We gotta get back. One o'clock local time. There's a badly rendered hillside over there at 1 o'clock. Speaking of 1 o'clock, there we go. That's better. So as I said, I've got my eye on a couple of lakes, and I'm going to try and shoot the one on the right and then fly due north. It's a bit west of north, but basically due north. And so now we'll get a sense for exactly what these runways are doing. Okay, so it's one runway, and it's about, that's about a runway 30, I'd say. Runway 29, runway 30. So that's manageable. What we'll do is we'll fly to the east side of Walden Lake, Lake Walden, and on about a heading of 030. Turn base whenever we feel like it. Yeah, gotta be sure to shoot the right side of that lake there. What is this bay called? Does this bay have a name? Not. Well, it probably does, but if it does, Apple Maps is not giving it to me. And it's clouded up again. try to intercept Highway 1 to the east side of Walden Lake. And follow it. Absolutely ecstatic with what this water looks like. Just fantastic. Highway run right by the lake? It really does. It runs right by the eastern edge of Lake Walden. Walden, I'm calling it Walden. It's Warden, like a game warden. Yeah. Okay. We are going to be fine on fuel. We can see the town. If I can find the town. Esperance. Around and say goodbye to Mondrian Island. Yeah, it's one of those out there. It's the biggest one. There it is. There it is. Oh, no, I take it back. That's not it. I've lost track of it. No, that's the mainland out there. It was one of those out there. fly directly into town. Okay, that is not where we're going. I can tell you that. It's a different one. We'll fly low over town. The way that Flight Simulator renders water is just, that's remarkable. That's just remarkable. All right. So this is Lake Warden here to the left. And what was known as the South Coast Highway, but now goes by a different name. As it heads north, a ways, quite a ways. And as a matter of fact, one of the side trips I want to take, part 3 of this Australia series, is going to be to follow this road to the town where it stops, where it, the town that, in the interior of the country where this part of the road goes, is what I mean. Well, we're going to be doing part of that now because the airport that I want to land at is out this way. Shut them off. Alright. So we're a little closer to the place than I thought we were going to be. That's okay. We'll fly about heading... Once we get within 2 miles of it, maybe 2.5 miles of it, I'll fly heading 030. Go ahead and do that now, actually. Yeah. Alright, 10 degrees. Now I'm guessing it's 290300. Okay. Once again, we're a little bit close. I need to start judging these sorts of things a little better than I am. Slow way down. It is 300. No, it's 29er. Yeah, 290. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Slow it way down. Whoa. Whoa. I thought for sure we were dead. Can I back taxi? I thought for sure we were dead. That's just lack of patience on my part. Honestly, I should have gone around. Honestly. Well, that's how you make nothing out of something. Because I actually, for as short of a base leg that was, and as short of a final as that was, that shouldn't. Well, what am I trying to say? I just don't feel like that should have happened. I felt like I lined it up okay, and then just came in too fast. Okay, so I wonder if we can. Yeah, I know it. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I know it. There's no taxiway here. Well, there is a taxiway, but unfamiliar with the area, unfamiliar with the airport. It appears to me that most planes probably come in on the other one. Not 030, but the other one, 12. Oh, if I could have a do-over of that, I would take it. I would go around and fly in to 12 instead of 30. Rattle. Of course, I'm an excellent driver. Oh, my word. Okay, we'll just sit over here and hang our heads in shame for a while. Maybe they won't realize that we're here. Alright, so that was kind of a frustrating ending to what was otherwise a nice time, really, to be honest. Move this over. I'm not making a runway incursion now. I'm off the runway. But anyway, thank you for joining me for this one. We're here in the Western Australian town of Esperance. I'll get the pronunciation on that and fix it by my next video. My idea for part 3 is to actually take Australia Route 1 inland to an inland town in Western Australia and circle around and fly back. Maybe do a touch and go at the airport up there and then fly back here. That's what I have in mind for part 3. I'll do some research on it and look into the viability of doing that, and I will let you guys know. I'll update you in the next Australian video that I do, part 3. But thank you for joining me. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these flights. I'm going to be trying to do a little bit less recording and a little bit more live streaming. Actually, on some of these longer videos, I find that a live stream is a little bit more appropriate for a longer video like this than a recording is. So, if you're in favor of that, let me know in the comments. Again, thanks a lot for joining me, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.